or empathize with others. To purpose. To purpose. To purpose.
Come check in on your boy Mike Milton on the Pain and Purpose podcast. We're tackling some serious and hard conversations.
A transforming process of converting personal suffering, trauma or hardship into a meaningful life mission. Increase resilience or service to others. That's right, service to others. It involves finding growth in challenges, turning wounds into strength, and using past struggles to help, mentor, or empathize with others. To purpose. To purpose. To purpose.
Come check in on your boy Mike Milton on the Pain and Purpose podcast. We're tackling some serious and hard conversations.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Mike back with from Pain to Purpose podcast. Tonight, I got a very, very, very special guest tonight. This sister was like my sister. We met in college, and she's on here tonight to share her story, man. And this story is touching. And when I first heard her testimony about it, I reached out to her and asked her to come on my show to share her podcast, man. So tonight, I want to introduce you guys to my sister. Telita Howard is in the building. She just checked in now, man. And I want to thank T for coming on tonight. T, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, T, man, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. And like I told them, everybody, I saw you post something last year about you being a domestic violence survivor, and I reached out to you and said that I wanted to bring you on to share your story. First, I want to get to a disclaimer. I talked to the brother today, and he understood why we had to do this podcast. And, you know what I'm saying, his name won't be mentioned or anything, but we had a conversation about it. So I just want everybody out there that's listening to understand that we did have this conversation beforehand. You know what I mean? And he understand that this is about your story, helping women and men out there who went through this process, and let them know that they could get to the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to thank you again for coming on. But talk to me, sis. What's been up? How you doing? You just celebrated a birthday. How you doing right now?
I did, the big 5-0.
How you
good.
doing?
Life is good. I can't complain. You know, getting older, but that's the purpose in life, right? You get older. Can't get younger, only getting older.
Indeed. I want to thank you also for being a friend for me in college, man. And we went through all the ups and downs. We went through not me and you going at each other.
I saw on campus that I knew, and you like guided me through, like, come on, I'm gonna show you what to do, and who not to talk to, and who to talk to, and what to do.
Yeah. You was definitely my sister up there, and I want to thank you for the times
Absolutely.
we had in school and everything, man. The Bartlett, you know what I'm saying? Them was the years, man. So you know what I'm saying? Let's get right at it. How was life early growing up in Trenton, and take us there?
I had a good life growing up. I grew up in a two-parent family household. Both my parents. My parents have been married for 48 years, but they have been together since they were teenagers.
Wow.
Like my mom and my dad met when they were 13 and 16 years old, and they've been together ever since. So I had a good family life. You know, we wasn't rich, but we didn't want for nothing. And both my parents worked. My dad worked for the city. My mom worked for the state. You know, we went on family reunion vacations. We traveled out of the state. Like we didn't stay stuck there. So my family life was pretty good. I had two brothers, an older brother, a younger brother. My parents were good to us. I have no complaints about the things that I went through in my young adult life. They kept me motivated and grounded in school because I was always like focused on education more so than anything.
I know you definitely was an excellent student once you got to college. What like elementary school, middle schools, high schools did you go to when you was in Trenton?
So initially I went to Joyce Kilmer Elementary School. And then we moved to Wilbur section.
Mm.
And I couldn't go to Paul Robeson because I was in the gifted and talented program. So I went to PJ Hill Elementary School because that was the
Oh,
only
you was
school in
one of
the
them.
area.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
where you ran into the E at. You
yeah.
was one of them, a
Yes,
super
we were in the
brainiac.
same classes from I think third grade on. Yeah.
You was a
So
super
I was in
brainiac there.
absolutely. I was in gifted and talented from the time I started first grade on. So I went to Joyce Kilmer just briefly, and then I
Hmm.
went to PJ Hill. Then I went to Dunn Middle School,
Hmm.
and then Trenton High.
Yeah, I went to the low budget gifted and talented type joint. We wasn't on your level. They just had us at Grant. We was smart, but we wasn't smart. Smart like y'all. Y'all was different.
Nah,
Y'all
I
was a
just
different
learned
level of
early
smart.
on. I just
Indeed.
learned early on how to make it easier and not harder.
Indeed. So when did you start developing dating interest in guys and things of that nature, and what was that like early on?
I was a late bloomer. I didn't start dating until after I graduated from high school. Well, my senior
Wow.
year in high school. Let me say that. My senior year in high school, I had a boyfriend briefly, and then I didn't have my first like real boyfriend until after I graduated from high school.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.
So how did the relationship that you're talking about that you went through the situations, how did that relationship come about, and when did you first start showing interest?
So I celebrated my 21st birthday on May 17th, 1997. And I had a big party in Philly. Because Philly is always my second home. My mom is from Philly, so all my family here. I have a bunch of cousins and stuff here. And this is where I used to come to hang out at when I was younger. And I invited like a lot of my friends from King to come down, and they all came down for my party. And I was dating.
Check your connection because it's coming in a little fuzzy from mine. Oh, it's starting to go out a little bit. But she went off.
Okay, we back.
Yeah, so somebody must be trying to call you or something because I don't see your
No,
picture
I
though
didn't get
yet.
any phone call. Hold on.
I don't
I
know.
didn't get any phone.
I don't see your image no more. Yeah, I hear your voice though, but I don't see your image no more.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if there's anything that I can do.
Go out and try to come back in on the
Okay,
us
let me
and
go out and I'll come back in.
all right. Yeah, hopefully she get joint good. That's the only thing about when you don't do them in person. Things like this could happen, man, and it could be things could go on.
Oh,
Hello?
okay, we back.
Yeah, that's better. All right, so take me back to the party. Then you invited everybody down from King.
Yeah, and on that night, I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend that I had been with for like 2.5 years.
Mm.
So that was like that Saturday, um, Monday morning. I left on my lunch break and I went to downtown.
Dang, she keep going out. She might have to
Can you
use a
see
different.
me? Can you hear me?
No, I can't. I can't hear you, but I can't see you, but I can
Let
hear you
me.
though. You might have to use a different
I don't
phone
know
or
what's
like a
going.
or something like that.
Nobody's calling me, but hold on. Let me see how I can do this. Hold on.
Let me try this one. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah.
but it's a little.
Yeah, your mic just went off. Yeah, your joint froze. Yeah, your joint froze. I can't hear you. Your mic went off. You got to unmute your mic. Trying to get her equipment together over there so we could go on with the joint.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I think my phone was starting to go hot on this stand thing that I got on here.
Yeah, it still sound like choppy.
It sound real nasty. I'm not sure
Yeah, it sound bad.
hot right now. I had it on this light stand.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Like your joint sound real. It sound like real choppy. Do you got like a laptop or iPad or something like that?
I could log.
Wow. Okay. So she's gonna come in on her laptop. So let me give her some time.
And using past struggles to help, mentor, or empathize with others. To purpose. To purpose. To purpose.
Come check in on your boy Mike Milton on the Pain and Purpose podcast. We're tackling some serious and hard conversations.
A transforming process of converting personal suffering, trauma or hardship into a meaningful life mission. Increase resilience or service to others. That's right, service to others. It involves finding growth in challenges, turning wounds into strength, and using past struggles to help, mentor, or empathize with others. To purpose. To purpose. To purpose.
Come check in on your boy Mike Milton on the Pain and Purpose podcast. We're tackling some serious and hard conversations.
A transforming process of converting personal suffering, trauma or hardship into a meaningful life mission. Increase resilience or service to others. That's right, service to others. It involves finding growth in challenges, turning wounds into strength, and using past struggles to help, mentor, or empathize with others. To purpose.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hello? Well, coming September 14th, 2026, the From Pain to Purpose book will be released, most high willing. And the book will detail everything that you need to know about everything that happened, everything I went through, everything that was going through my mind, all the people that was in my life, all the people that left my life, the trials and tribulations, the alcoholism, the adultery, the fornication, the everything, man. Be sure to make sure that you hit me up. Once this drop, you're gonna be able to get it on Amazon. I'll be selling autographed copies that I could give to people face to face. I'm gonna be setting up some book signing days. I'm gonna be going to some places to do some speaking and sign some books and have the books there with me. So make sure that you um, stay tuned for September 14th, 2026 from Pain to Purpose. The book, it will be released coming soon. I'm waiting for T. She just said that her phone had overheated. So just waiting for her to get that together so we could get on to get this going. But it's gonna be good, man. You guys stay tuned for that. It's supposed to be out September 14th, man. We here trying to get the grind on and do the things that we need to do to get some stuff going, man. Got some other stuff coming out with From Pain to Purpose, about to be a movement. As you can see, we have different t-shirts. I'm gonna have t-shirts for sale coming up soon. So be on the lookout for that. Um, hit me up. You're gonna be able to see it on all my social media platforms. I'm about to develop a From Pain to Purpose Instagram. I already have the TikTok one. I'm gonna have the From Pain to Purpose Instagram. And in terms of B-Ball Spotlight, once this season of From Pain to Purpose is over, we will be doing our last lap. That would be my final round of B-Ball Spotlight interviews. Those are people that were very significant in my basketball journey that I will be interviewing for my last round of interviews. And to top it all off, I will have the last interview will be with the B-Ball Spotlight staff and close people that we're gonna sit and just talk about everything on the final joint to close the curtain down for B-Ball Spotlight. So I'm looking forward to the B-Ball Spotlight final lap. We will be having all of those interviews and things like that coming on. Already got a commitment from Rob Cole, got a commitment from Gary Battle, got a commitment from Fred Fauci, got a long host of other people that I have to interview. before everything is closed down and we move on. So I'm waiting for T to come on now so we could get this going, most high willing, that we could get her interview going so she could tell her story. I'm glad everybody out there, thanks for having patience with this. You know, this kind of stuff happens when you do online. Um, when you do online podcasts and things of that nature, sometimes things happen. You know what I mean? So it's no biggie. I hope everybody's out there enjoying their night. Please go to my page and check out the Monday night men's Bible meeting. It was a great one on Monday night. I got some feedback from different brothers. Talked about the addictions that destroy men's families and their lives. That was a good one. The spirit was flowing through heavy. The week before that, we did the biblical leadership in the home. And the first week, we did the difference between the virtuous woman and the seductive woman. So, just trying to really get the message out there to be able to help people and bring them closer to the Most High, man. That's what we here for. That's what we trying to do. We got a lot of things on the plate coming up. I was just on the Trenton Journal podcast. Shout out to that brother. He will be releasing that soon. But it was a great experience. I really didn't know how dope their studio was and the graphics and everything. I'm very low budget over there. Those brothers over there doing it, man. That brother had it going, had his interns there. They showed me a great time, man. And it was good to sit there and be able to talk about my story and talk about the book that's coming up. Um, Anybody out there that has a podcast that I could possibly get on, hit me up, man. I'd love to come through and chop it up with the different podcast people out there. I reached out to a couple people. I got a couple more to reach out to possibly try to get on their podcast. So trying to get some things rolling, trying to get some things done. So don't be mad, but you're probably going to be seeing a lot of me soon around here trying to get the word out, man, especially with the book about to come out. We got a lot going on. You get what I'm saying? So that's what the goal is right now, to be able to go out and get the word out. Trying to see what's going on with her. Hope she could get this together. Yes, sir.
Log in through my laptop, but I'm not having luck. I'm not very electronically inclined, but my phone has cooled down.
I see your phone cooled down to get
Yeah,
at
it
it.
did. It
Your
was
joint was
overheating.
that's all that money you making over there getting that bread, man. You
I'm
got it
trying. I'm
popping. You
trying.
got it
Listen,
popping, man.
I'm
All right,
definitely
so
trying.
we up here now. So take us back to you met him at the party now, or you broke up with your boyfriend at the party.
Yeah, so I met him a couple days later, in Trenton, downtown Trenton. I was going to DeVito's Pizza Place right there on State Street to try to get me a slice of pizza for lunch, and he was standing out front, and that's how we ended up meeting, and it just went from there. And that
Mm,
was May 21st of 1997. Hmm.
So once you first met him, did you like have immediate interest in him, or how did that progress?
Um, I think so. Yeah, it was more or less like I was lonely. I had just went through a breakup, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot of experience in dating. Because growing up, like I always was like participating in educational activities and college bound during the summer. I didn't go to parties and things like that like
Yeah.
my brother and my friends did. I was like, I was going away for different educational things. So I wasn't very street savvy. So I
Mm.
didn't know who he was. I didn't know too much about like the guys in the neighborhood and things like that. So, um, initially it was intriguing, but there was a lot of like red. Looking back now, there was a lot of red flags early on.
Like what?
Um, Telling me what I can eat, how I can dress, how I can do my
Mm.
hair. Um, you know, things like I was working a temp job because I used to come home during the summer from college and work temp jobs all summer.
Mm-hmm.
And on this one particular day, he was like, "I got a job interview. Let me use your car." And I let him use my car to go to the job interview because I was at work all day. And when he bought the car back, he had put like 4 new tires on it. He went and got it cleaned and all of those things. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so nice. This is so good." And then 2, 3 days later, he asked to use the car, and I was like, "No, I got somewhere to go." And then that became an issue. Like, well, I put tires on the car, so I should be able to drive it
Mm.
whenever I want to. It was a more of a
Mm.
controlling thing. It was like, and it started early on. But at the
Mm-hmm.
time, of course, I didn't recognize that because, like I said, I really hadn't been in a lot of relationships. I was still young. I was 21. I didn't start dating until I was like 18 years old. Um,
Okay.
so it was fairly new. I didn't recognize it at the time. The controlling things that had started, but it got worse when I went back to school in September at Keene.
So,
That's when things started to
okay.
progress.
Um, was the controlling thing? Did it have to do with like a religious type principles, or that was just his natural way of dealing with women?
I think it was both. When we first met, I explained to him that I was Christian. I grew up
Mm-hmm.
in the church, went to
Mm-hmm.
church all my life. It
Mm-hmm.
was not anything new for me to participate in religious activities and things like that. And he had explained to me that he was of the 5% nation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he don't eat pork, so you're not gonna eat pork. And I was like, nah, I eat pork, so I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat. You can't tell me what to
Mm.
do. It was one of those type things. Laughed it off initially, but throughout the course of our relationship, it got worse.
Mm.
Um, it was the controlling issue got worse, and that had nothing to do with religious things. I
Okay.
moved back into campus in September,
Mm-hmm.
and he immediately like contacted his aunt that lived in East Orange,
Mm-hmm.
which was like, like 20, 30 minutes away from the
Mm-hmm.
school because we were in Elizabeth, New Jersey, Union, New Jersey, um, and went and moved in with her so he could be closer to me.
Mm.
Um, then started coming to campus and not wanting to leave campus, even though I had classes. So it was like
Mm.
every day you were there. Even when I was in classes, if I had things to do, it was like, oh, change that. I want to hang out with you. So it became
Mm.
more of like, I'm gonna be here all the time. I'm gonna be with you all the time, and you're not gonna have anything else to do with anybody else.
Did it start off to be feeling like like uh aggressive type of control, or was it like smothering, like somebody just wanting to be up under you, somebody just like loving you and wanting to be up under you, or was it like a aggressive type of control back
It
then?
was smothering, but it went aggressive kind of quickly because I want to say we got back to campus in September, and I don't know if you remember this, but probably like a week after we started school, um, it was that bad car accident that our
Yeah,
can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
yeah,
One
you
of our
went out, but I can hear you
classmates
though.
died in a car accident.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, one of our classmates died in a car accident. You remember?
Yeah.
It was like the week after we got back on campus.
Okay.
um and they had like a memorial for him, and I was a part of the gospel choir.
Okay.
So his family had asked the gospel choir to sing at his funeral services, and we were pretty much gone all day. They had gotten a van to take us to the funeral, which was off campus, and then they had different things going on campus for him. and he had a fit because I was gone all day, and he wanted me to not go to the funeral, to not participate in anything that was going on. This was a guy that lived across the hall from me in my dorm. Like, we lived
Mm.
302, he was
Mm-hmm.
301, like directly
Mm-hmm.
across the hall from us.
I remember.
Um right. So that turned into a physical altercation that night. We came
Mm.
back from the funeral. He was mad that I had been gone all day, and kind of like pushed me up against the wall and was like, pin me up against the wall. And to get him off of me, I smacked him.
Mm.
Um, and I ran out the room, called the police, the campus police. They came. They arrested both of us because it was considered double domestic violence, because I hit him to get him off of me.
Okay. I can't see you no more, but I can hear you
Okay.
clear though. So
I'm
it's cool.
sorry. I'm not
No,
sure
you
what's
cool.
really
Just
wrong there.
no, just keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. And that was the first situation that ended up being physical, and it was more or less the controlling thing. Like, I want you here. You're not going to do nothing with anybody else. He didn't want me to hang out with my friends, my roommates, or anything. If I did, he had to be a part of it.
Mm.
Um, I left campus for like a week or so, because there was a lot going on. I had just gotten arrested for domestic violence. I was in a
Mm-hmm.
situation that I never thought I would be in. I came home, got myself together. I went back to campus. He begged me, talked to him again, and we started dating again. Um, and then it basically was like he basically moved into my dorm room with me. He was there every day, all day. My roommates had a big problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
I did too, but at the same time, I just didn't want to anger him, because I just didn't know where it would go if I angered him, and I didn't know how to break it off. Um,
That's what I was gonna get to. Once
mhm,
it got physical and it caused you all of those issues in terms of not being on the campus, I
mhm.
mean leaving the campus, getting arrested, things of that nature, what in you made you when he was calling trying to get back with you or to resume the relationship, what made you say, all right, I get us
I don't
another
know.
shot?
I honestly, I think it was more of, he was more very, very manipulative. He was very, what they say, suave, could talk his way
Mm-hmm.
into anything,
Mm-hmm.
convinced me that it was a one-time thing. Couples argue, this is like normal. Again, I wasn't very like well versed at dating and stuff. I didn't
Mm.
like date all through high school and stuff. So I was just like, well, maybe it was a one-time thing, and gave it another chance. And then things were pretty okay for a while, but the smothering was still there, having to be everywhere I was at. Um, Came home for Christmas break in December and found out that I was pregnant with my
Mm.
son.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was like a big thing, because I felt like I had let my family down, you know.
Mm. Did your
Um,
family know about what happened? The physical altercation?
they did, and they weren't happy about it. My father was really upset.
Mm.
And I mean, honestly, from beginning, I don't think that they ever really cared for him.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of he was so smothering.
Mm.
Like, why would he take your car and put tires on it? Why he always driving your car, and he got to drive you where you got to go, and you can't come over here unless he here with you. That was the kind of things that they were noticing, and I noticed it as well. But at first, you think it's just like a man that's just trying to be there for you. You don't realize that it's a control issue.
How did it impact the relationship with you and your father that your father is telling you all of this, but you're still doing the opposite of what your father is saying? How did that impact you in his relationship?
So my parents both have been always very supportive of anything that I do.
Okay.
It impacted more because I felt like I was letting them down. Like, I was doing things that I
Mm.
wasn't raised to do. Like, I never saw my parents argue, fuss, and fight, none of that stuff. So
Mm.
it like really made me feel like I was like, failing. I was being
Mm.
a statistic, and that was my biggest thing. I never wanted to be a statistic. I didn't. I'm finding myself pregnant by a man that I've had history with of domestic violence early on. I didn't want to raise my child in a separate home, a single parent
Okay.
home. I was trying to make things work. My dad was upset, but still trying to be there for me. And then it got to the point where my parents and my family members basically did like, hard love. Like, if this is who you choose to be with, don't keep running back to us when things happen.
Mm.
And honestly, that situation was the first situation that was kind of like physical. He never hit me, but he pushed me up against the wall and had helped me up against the wall. But after that, it wasn't physical anymore. It was all mental and verbal abuse and financial abuse. Um,
Mm.
it became more of, and honestly, he used to say to me, I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna put my hands on you because if I hit you, I can go to jail. So he resorted to things like demeaning me. Anything we
Mm.
talked about in a relationship, like you, my partner, if I expressed to him how I felt about something that may have happened in my family or my friendships, he used that against me when he got mad, just to hurt me even more. Called me names constantly. He had a gambling addiction, and I mean a
Mhm.
bad gambling addiction,
Mhm.
where he would get paid and disappear for days at a time and not return until he had no money. Um,
Mm.
try to take my money at time most of the time, and I started to like hide my money from him. Um, I had to open up a separate bank account and send the bank statement to a different household to keep him from seeing it. Um, I cut out like an opening in the back of my son's car seat so I could hide money in it because he would
Mm.
check my purses and everything that he could to try to get the money because that's how hard it was for him to like break the addiction. He would gamble days and days at a time. And so it was more not just the mental and emotional abuse, which was horrible.
Mhm.
Um, it was just things like at one we ended up moving in together. Um, got an apartment and he would gamble up the money for the rent,
Mm.
and we found ourselves in eviction twice, um where everything was basically put out. On one occasion we were being evicted. He let me know like the day before the eviction court hearing, like we need to pay this money or they're going to put us out, blah blah blah. And I got the money up from family members and friends, gave me the money. I had to go to work because regardless of what happened, I always went to work every day. I didn't stop going to work. And I
Mhm.
gave him the money and said, take it to the office right now. And he took it and gambled it. And so we still ended up in eviction. Then it was, gosh, by the time my son was 3 years old, it was a constant back and forth with the emotional abuse, like just constantly calling me names to put me down. I could just come from the hair salon, getting my hair done. I could just buy a new outfit and we're going out together. And he would talk so nasty to me to the point where I didn't want to go.
Mm.
Um, he would call me all kinds of fat, you're ugly, nobody's going to want you, you're used goods now, you have kids, so you can't leave me. Do not come out here. Excuse me. Go back inside. Can't, I'm sorry, you guys. Excuse
No,
me.
I understand.
I got
Um.
a special needs daughter, and she don't understand.
Yeah, I understand.
um. So it was like one incident that I can tell you that was really rough. I moved into a new apartment on Hanover Street. It was a new building that just had been put up. We were the first people to move into this apartment.
Mhm.
Like they literally had just got finished putting in the toilets and the floors right before we moved in. We moved in, cleaned up the apartment before we moved in. That was on a Thursday. On Saturday morning, he woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning and said I needed to get up and clean the house from top to bottom. And because I didn't want to do that, he would resort to taking the music and blasting it really, really loud to wake me up out of my sleep or throw things at me while I was in the bed. Cuss me out, yank the covers off of me, turn the fan up on top of me because it was really cold. It was like September.
Mhm.
Do things like that to irritate me until I would just get out the bed. The the bigger incident that occurred, and this went on for a while. Things like that happen all the time. Um, We went to my family reunion in South Carolina with my family, and I mean my entire family went. All my aunts, my grandfather, my parents, we probably had about 7, 8 cars that were traveling together from New Jersey to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And like most families do, we stop at south of the border to gas up. We're only about 2 hours away from our destination. Stop to get souvenirs and things like that. Everybody got out to go to the bathroom. I took my son to the bathroom, got him something to eat, and he disappeared.
Mm.
About an hour or so later, everybody's loading back up in the cars. We can't find him. Well, they had just opened up a casino at south of the border, and he went into the casino and he gambled every dollar that we had and lost it all.
Mm.
So we were in a different state, hours away from our home, and I had probably $80 in my pocket left over because he had the money in his pocket. Um, I didn't even know how we were going to put gas in the car or eat for the days that we were there. And I had to go to my dad and ask my father to give me money to pay for our hotel and gas and food while we were there. And I was kind of like, embarrassed. I was big time embarrassed because my whole family knew what was going on. Because when I say we had to wait for him, nobody could find him, and they found him in the casino. Um,
So when you look at the gambling thing, which is definitely
mhm,
a sick addiction, like I just did a um a lesson on Monday night talking about all the addictions that
mhm,
ruin a man's life and ruin his family. I was addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to sex. I
mhm,
was addicted to porn. I was addicted to several things because you know what I'm saying. I like the dopamine of it. You know what I mean.
mhm,
So I was addicted to food. You get what I'm saying. So
mhm.
when you saw that he had this addiction, did you look at it as a sickness or did you just look at it as him being selfish and him just doing what he wanted to do?
Oh no, I knew it was a sickness. I've dealt with family members and friends who had addictions in the
Mm,
past, so I
mm,
definitely knew. I was always well aware of what was going on. I knew it was addiction and it was a sickness that he couldn't help, but it put me and his children in bad
yeah,
situations a lot.
yeah.
He would like, let's go out and get something to eat, and he would go inside the restaurant to get the food and leave me pregnant with our young toddler in the car for like 2 hours and not come back to the car. I've left a
Mm,
couple of times. There were other times where I was homesick and he was supposed to bring food home to me and he wasn't there because he was gambling, and I had to show up where he was at and like leave
mm,
all his bags outside. It was really bad. And my thing was like, you're gambling, but the gambling was just uh um the mental abuse was worse than the gambling. I can say that.
mm,
Because he
mm,
did things constantly to me. Like if I got up in the middle of the night and I went and got a glass of water and I drank the water out the glass and I set the glass on the sink or set it inside the sink, he would wake me up screaming and hollering and breaking the glass and things like that because I left a
mm,
glass in the sink. Everything had to be spotless before we went to bed. Nothing could be out of place. I tell my friends and stuff now, like if you've ever seen that movie Sleeping with the Enemy, how she went in the kitchen and the canned goods had to be facing all the same way.
wow.
I dealt with that for the whole time that we lived together. The towels in the bathroom had to be lined up exactly the same.
So where was you at mentally, being the fact that you said that your family told you not to come to them no more, and now you dealing
Hmm.
with this situation? You have a kid, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, and all of this stuff is happening to you. What did you do to maintain your sanity in terms of like trying to stay straight with all of this stuff going on around you, and basically your support system you had told you like, yo, we not gonna be here no more. What did you do?
So I reached out to not just my family. That was the
Okay,
thing. I
okay,
reached out
okay.
to my family. I reached out to his friends,
Mm,
right? Because in my thing, it was like, we are, you guys are, promoting positivity. We are 5 percenters. We want to do good by the black family and things like that. So y'all need to have a conversation with your friend to let him know that what he's doing is wrong.
Mm.
But honestly, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to come on here and talk about it, is a lot of people didn't understand or consider mental or verbal abuse as abuse.
Mm.
And when I would tell people what I was going through, one of the questions that I get asked on a regular basis, like, well, did he hit you? And if I said,
Mm.
when I said no, it was, oh, well, girl, you all right. Ain't nothing wrong. People did not look at mental and verbal abuse as if it was really abuse. And so a lot of people ignored it and overlooked it. And it wasn't until it escalated that, then it became, why didn't you call me? Well, I
Mm.
did. I called you and I tried to talk to you. Even the police, I can be honest with you. The one of the last incidents that we had with it, when it involved the police kind of like, basically kind of like laughed in my face. um they didn't feel like it was that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I told them I was in fear of my safety. They didn't think it was a serious situation at that point in time. But I went to family members of his, I went to
Mm-hmm.
friends of his, um and said, please have a conversation with him. Like, I'm trying to make my family work, but it's getting so bad that I can't deal anymore. I would go to work every day and come home from work, and I was braiding hair a lot, so I always had like a customer waiting on me to get their hair done. um he would come in and demand money in front of my customers, like, if you will tell him to pay you right now and I want some of the money, give me the money. And when I wouldn't give it to him, he would destroy my house, um
Mm.
take everything out the cabinets and throw it in the middle, like kind of like a big temper tantrum for an adult. um and then I started planning my exit.
Mm.
But
Take me there.
I
Take
think
me.
I've
Take me.
always, yeah, I
Uh,
always been of the mindset of, I can't just leave. I got to make sure things are in place, because I had one child and I was pregnant with another one.
mm.
And so I didn't want to just up and leave and be homeless with my kids. I had a full-time job, but I wanted to make sure that they had somewhere to go. Because in my
Mm.
mind, and this is what played over and over in my mind for a long time, was, um you're a statistic now. Don't make it worse than what it already is. Like, you're a single parent, you're not married, you dropped out of college. Like, all of these things was like going over and over in my head. And I was the one in the family that everybody um always thought that I was going to make it big. I had goals and plans, and I'm going to law school and I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And so
Mm.
when all of the dreams and the things that I had planned out started to go left, it
Mm-hmm.
started to wear on me mentally. And then having to deal with the things that I was going through at home with him, it became worse. And then I started to plan my exit. I started to try to find, alternative routes, for living. I needed to find a place to live and move out of the apartment. It was in my name, but I had called the police a couple of times and they wouldn't put him out because he had been living there. He had shoes and stuff there. Um, and I actually, when we had a situation, no, I'm not going to say a situation. I'm going to call it what it was. We had the biggest domestic violence situation that we dealt with. Um, September 17th of 2000. I was about 4 months pregnant with my daughter. My son was turning 3 years old. He had turned 3 years old on September 15th, and I had planned a
Mm-hmm.
birthday party for him. Um, he lost his job again, because he
Mm-hmm.
could not keep a job, but he would always get a job, but he couldn't keep a job. Um, a week beforehand, and he wanted me to cancel the birthday party. And because I wouldn't, he started to make um he started to say things like, well, I'm gonna just take him and he won't be at his own party. I'm gonna take him and you won't see him for the whole weekend. Um, cancel the party. And I had family members. I have a big family. So I had family
Mm-hmm.
coming from out of town and everything, had friends coming, and I wasn't canceling. I stood my ground. I was like, no, I'm not. You lost your job. My son's party is already paid for and I'm not canceling it. And so we had this party at Chuck E. Cheese and had probably about 40 people there. And the entire time, he would walk up to me, act as if he was kind of like whispering in my ear, kind of lovey-dovey thing. And the whole time he was threatening me. When we get out of here, I'm gonna
Wow.
F you up. I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna do that to you. Um, And so when we left there, I was trying to carry gifts and presents, carry my son because he was asleep and I was 4 months pregnant at the time and he refused to help me carry anything to get in the car. He got in the car and started demanding that I hurry up. Um, so I put my son in the seat. We got home that night and it escalated very quickly. He was pissed off because I still had this party and he could not pay for it or he wanted me to cancel it. And he started to do whatever he could to annoy me. I had to go to work the next morning. He would turn the radio. He had like those huge speakers that stood like 5 feet tall. And he would turn the radio up as loud as he could. The neighbors were banging on the door, turned the TV up really loud. He turned the air conditioner on, the fan on really high. Um, Threw things at me while I was in the bed. And it just kept going. And I kept saying, like, please leave me alone. I just want to go to bed. He wouldn't stop. Um, and then it got to the point where he started picking up larger items and throwing it at me, and cussing at me. And that's when I started to get like really scared.
Mm.
Um, and it escalated from there. And I remember running out of my apartment in my pajamas and running down the street to a neighbor's house and asking them to call the police for me because he had gotten really angry, was picking up whatever he could to throw at me. He was just irate. I had never seen him like that before. Um he had took my cell phone from me, took the car keys. Um and my son was in the bed sleep at the time and I was like worried, so I kept trying to go back to the house to get him. The police took like 2 hours. When he realized that I had ran to the neighbor's house to call the police, he must have left because by the time the police got there, he wasn't there anymore. They searched the apartment, he wasn't there. um and they was like, well, he's not here now, you can come down tomorrow morning and file, a restraining order and all of that
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. And I was like, well, can you just wait around for a little bit because he took my car is not outside anymore. I think he may try to come back. And they were just like, oh, you'll be all right. Okay, no problem. So I sat outside on the step holding my son for about an hour, and then I started to get really tired because now it's like 11, 12 o'clock at night. I went inside the house, sat in the living room as long as I could because I was afraid to go to the bedroom because my bedroom, the back door to the yard was in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I just got to the point where I was like, well, it's late, he ain't coming back, I went and got in the bed, put my son in the bed, and I got in the bed myself. And he kicked the back door in.
Mm.
He kicked the back door in. He had one of my kitchen knives
Oh.
and he held me at knife point the entire night. And he said he wasn't going to let me leave because I called the cops on him and I just wanted to see him in jail.
Wow.
Um, at one point, he held a knife to my stomach and said he was going to cut me open and let my son watch me bleed to death.
Mm.
And again, I was 4 months pregnant with my daughter at the time. Um, and so I just tried to
What's going through your mind at that point? Like with
initially initially what was going through my mind was like, I'm gonna die, because
mm.
he was at a point where I had never seen him before at that point in time. um I had never seen him with that kind of, like, it was kind of like he was a different person altogether. um
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, he's not thinking logically, he's going to kill me. But the only thing that I could think of at that time is like, as long as I'm holding my son, he's not going to hurt his son, he's not going to hurt his son. So I
Mm.
literally held my son in my arms, and my son was 3 years old. He didn't wake up through the entire night. And like the doctor said later, like it was like a coping mechanism for him. He stayed asleep the whole time.
Wow.
I held my son in my arms the entire night because I was afraid that he was going to kill me. And then at one point in time, I had gotten to the point where I said, it's going to be him or me, and I have my kids to live for, and it's not going to be me. And so I tried to fight him to get the knife out of his hand, and I got cuts on my wrist and my hand from fighting him to get the knife. Um, and then I got tired of fighting. So I tried to, just sit and lay down on the bed and try to say, hope and pray that, once he calmed down for a little while, he would let me go. And then I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. I got up to go to the bathroom. And before I can get in the bathroom and shut the door, he pushed the door open and he was like, "You don't think I'm that stupid, do you? You don't think I'm that stupid to let you to get up and leave like that when I'm you're gonna call the cops on me again." That's all he kept saying. "You're gonna call the cops on me again." Um, and so I used the bathroom and I went back and I laid down in the bed and I just prayed for the rest of the night. I prayed for the rest of the night because I just said, if you let me make it out, I'm not going back.
Mm.
And the next morning, I got up and he got up like nothing had happened the night before. But the whole night, he laid next to me with a knife in his hand. And every move that I made to go to the bathroom because I was pregnant or whatever, he was one step behind me. He would not allow me to move without him being there. Um, and so the next morning, I got up and I got dressed and I was like, well, maybe if I act like normal, like nothing has happened, he will, act normal too. My son was going to the daycare in the building, motor vehicles building on East State
Mm-hmm.
Street,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom worked in that building. And the way the elevator was, when you went up through the garage, you can go right to the floor with the daycare, but you can come straight through the daycare and walk through the other part of the building to get to where motor vehicles was. And my
Mm-hmm.
plan that I had in my head was, I'm going to take my son upstairs to the daycare and then I'm going to have them call my mom so that she could meet me because he still hadn't given me my cell phone back. Um, and I got in the elevator and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And before the elevator door could shut, he had his foot in the door and he was right behind me because he didn't trust
Mm.
me. Um, I dropped my son off and I went and got back in the car and he took me around the corner to my job and I was like, I need my car. And he was like, no, I'm not giving you this car. I got stuff to do. And I was getting out the car and taking my time because I had bags and I was pregnant. And he kind of like shoved me to the point where I fell out the car and braced myself and I got up and then before I realized he had pulled off and I went inside the building and I sat at my desk and I was like a ball of tears. A coworker came in and seen me and was like, "Hey girl, good morning." And then she looked and she said, "What's going on?" And I told her and she was like, "Let's go. I'm calling your parents." She called my dad and took me to the police station herself. And I pressed charges against him that day. Um,
Mm.
he actually came down to the police station and turned himself in because he said he told the police after they filed the warrant for him. He told the police, me and my girlfriend had an argument and I think she was upset because her hormones all out of whack. And I just
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure she didn't press charges against me. And so when they were leaving to go serve the warrant, they got a phone call that he was in the lobby of the police station. And they went down and arrested him immediately. And they arrested him on terroristic threats, endangerment of like a knife. They had him on kidnapping and he had like 7 or 8 charges against him.
Mm.
Um and he stayed in jail for probably, I think he came home from jail about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before my daughter was born. And he came right back to my apartment. Um and I didn't know how to put him out. I didn't know what would tick him off at that point in time because I knew he was unstable at that point in time.
So
Um
once he came out and when the police arrested him and put him in, they didn't like tell you to get a restraining order. What was their instructions on once he got arrested before he got released? What was their instructions to you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I did a whole lot of things that I probably shouldn't have done because I felt like this man is mentally unstable. He doesn't need jail. He needs therapy. And so I
Mm.
went to the DA and I talked to the DA and I pleaded with them for them to give him um, therapeutic solutions instead of jail.
Mm.
And the thing that was in my head was like, even back then, like, why put another black man in jail? He needs help. Jail is not going to help him. And I pleaded with them to give him um less strict penalties basically. And I
Mm.
basically drafted what I wanted them to do for them and they took it and they presented it to the judge. um and he had like 10 years probation. He was supposed to go through therapy and keep a job and be stay current on his child support and all of these different things. And he came home pleading, I don't got nowhere to go, please let me come back, I have nowhere to go. And I let him back in and he stayed on my chair. And about within 2 weeks, he was back to the same person that he was, cussing me out, um, calling me all kinds of names, just very demeaning in every way possible, stealing money from me because he wanted to go play cards all night long. Um,
Did
and I
you?
never let him back in my bed. He stayed
Hmm.
on a chair. And it had became at that point in time, it became like, we were just passing in the day. I left and went to work during the daytime. He didn't come back to the house until after I was gone because he would leave. I didn't know where he was going. He would be gone all night long and he wouldn't come back until the morning when I left to go to work. And so I was just like, well, maybe he got somebody else. And then that became part of my prayer. Like, well, maybe I'll pray that he can find somebody else that'll take his mind and his attention off of me. So that way he'll leave me alone.
Did you regret the decisions you made with the DA?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I did. Because like I said, it got worse. And then it just became like, I can't wait anymore. I'm going to plan my exit. But prior to, I just kept asking him to leave and he wouldn't leave. He would come in the house and cuss me out every day, call me every kind of name, and he wouldn't leave. And then a friend of mine called me and said, hey, I seen your kid's father going into this apartment on Hamilton Avenue. And I was like, oh, maybe it was a friend house. And she was like, no, it doesn't look like it's a friend. He had a key. And so initially I was like, well, maybe he got somebody else and maybe it's a girl house he's going to. And I went one day and I watched and waited for him to go in. And when he went inside, I went and knocked on the door a few minutes later. And come to find out, because I looked at the mail in the mailbox and stuff, it was his apartment. He had a whole apartment. You wouldn't leave my apartment and leave me alone, even though you had your own place that you were living in. Um, so
Do
you
you
just wanted to torture me every day. And he came here to torture me. He said I couldn't be happy without him.
do you think that you growing up with both of your parents, did that lean you towards trying to give your kids the same kind of experience? Did that like prohibit you from leaving sooner,
Mhm.
or just making sure that he was totally cut off?
Absolutely. That definitely was probably the leading reason why I stayed as long as I did, because I didn't grow up with just my mom or just my dad, and he didn't either. He had both
Mm,
parents until his dad
mm,
passed away. So I couldn't understand how a man like this would be so abusive, and he didn't think it was abusive. He tried to like undermine everything that was happening, and all he would say is like, oh, you just overreacting. I mean, there were times that he took my car and left me to walk in the heat from Trenton to Marsville to get home. There were times that I went to my mom's house on my birthday one year and he didn't like that I went to go celebrate, my birthday at my mom's house and didn't celebrate at home with him. And when I came back, all of my clothes was in the dumpster outside.
mm,
At one point, because the arguments had gotten so bad, that I had taken a key and got like a magnet thing and stuck the car key up under my car, so that, because that was his thing, every time we argued he would take my car keys so I couldn't leave. So I had gotten a second key and put it in like a magnet thing underneath the car, so if I had to leave I had a key.
wow.
um I had bags packed in the trunk of my car with extra formula for my kids and extra clothes, because unfortunately I was watching a lot of Lifetime at the time, and um I saw it happening constantly, and I was like, I got to prepare myself because it just doesn't seem like it's getting better. So I had started doing things like that, but then it got to the point where he just wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave me alone. He just wanted to make me miserable every single day. And so my cousin used to come to the house to babysit every day, and she called me one day and she says a eviction notice on the door.
Mm,
And I said, don't worry, take it off the door. And that was my out. I went to the
mm,
office and I told the people, I said, I'm going to pay what I owe you, but I'm leaving, because I
mm,
felt like if I was back at my parents' house, that would deter him from coming here, because he didn't like my dad. He knew my dad didn't like him, but he wasn't going to play with my father. Um, And so I moved back in with my parents, with my kids. Like I literally packed up everything while he wasn't there. I had knew his schedule. I packed up everything. I had my cousin come, put my mattress on top of the car, took my clothes, anything that I didn't want, I left right there, and I left while he was gone. And I moved into my parents' house. Um,
now, once you moved in, how did it feel like you remembering that you was like the prodigy? the golden child, and now you got to come back to that house with all of this stuff that has went on in your life. Like, take me
My
to
self
that
esteem
moment.
was
Yeah.
ruined. Like
Mm.
I didn't feel like I was worthy of doing anything else. But I can always say that my family, my
Mm.
parents, my brothers, my friends have always been very supportive of me, even though they had to give me tough love at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, their thing was, we always gonna be here for you regardless. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like maybe a couple weeks before I left, I had said, I was like, because he was telling everybody we're gonna get married. And I was like, I'm not marrying you. And he was like, why? I said, because I'm leaving you. I'm going to leave you. Like I was very vocal at that time and I was standing up for myself and I was like, I'm going to leave. As soon as I get an opportunity to leave, I'm leaving. And he was like, that's okay. Because if you leave, you don't got to worry about me ever seeing those kids again. And
Mm.
I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He was not joking. So like my parents and my brothers, my oldest brother was just like, you don't ever have to worry about wanting for anything for your kids. I'm gonna make sure that they good and they take care of. And he never let me down. There was never a day that I needed anything for my kids that I didn't have. My parents was just like, you good, you can stay here as long as you did. But I was independent, so I didn't want to stay. So as soon as I was able to get the money together and find an apartment, because I had two evictions on my record at this point in time,
Mm-hmm.
um, I moved out like 3 months later and got my own place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and by that time, he had stopped harassing me for a while because at one point in time he was harassing me big time. Anything and any place I went, he showed up at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he would come to my job and sit in the lobby of my job and just I was the receptionist at the front desk. And
Mm.
he would come and he would just sit in the lobby to look at me. Um, just to intimidate me. My coworkers, I didn't tell everybody what was going on and I didn't want everybody in my business, but they would come and they'd be like, that guy, why is he sitting there staring at you? He would sit there for like hours and just watch me to make sure I wasn't going anywhere, talking to anybody. I was in a hair show one night. He showed up at the hair show sitting on my car outside when I came out. He did whatever he could to try to intimidate me and it didn't stop. um, that went on for like a year and a half. It didn't stop until I started dating somebody else.
Mm.
And when I started to date somebody else, then he was intimidated and he just stopped coming around. But he never stopped like phone like harassing things. He absolutely refused to take care of the kids. Any way he could, he would keep from paying child support, taking care of anything that they needed. Kept me in court constantly because he didn't want to pay. Um, it
So
was
when
it.
was the
Mhm.
point where everything was just totally over and you started to transform into the next
When I
part
left and
of?
went to my parents' house.
Mm.
When I left and went to my parents' house, I never looked back. I never went back.
So how did you start rebuilding your life?
Um, I prayed a lot. I had my family and my friends to lean on, and I focused on my kids. My kids were the reason why I left. And I
Mm-hmm.
stayed going. I didn't want my kids to look at me like she's weak and she's allowing this man to do these things to her. And I didn't want my son to think that it was okay to treat a woman the way that his dad was treating me. And so I fought hard to get back in school because I had dropped out. I owed student loans,
Mm.
so I had to do everything that I could do to get back into school. I met my husband when my daughter was 4 years old and my son was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's just been like a blessing. I would still like try to reach out to him because my son desperately wanted to have a relationship with his dad. He
Yeah, like
desperately
most
wanted it
sons, most
because
sons.
he had time and moments with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my daughter didn't know him because I left when she was an infant.
Mm.
Um, and he would when he would come, he would try to take him and didn't want to take her. And his excuse was, she's a baby. I'm not taking her because she's a baby. And then he tried to deny her and took me to court to get paternity and things like that. Um, but my my kids is what kept me going, and my husband was like a huge support, because I felt like at one time, like, you got to take care of your kids, you got to pay. And I felt like, like a lot of girls do, like, calling them like, your kids need this, you need to buy this, you need to do this, you're not paying child support, they need school clothes and things like that. And I just remember my husband on one day, like, coming in the room when I was on the phone arguing at him, because he was like calling me all kinds of names and cussing me out, like,
Mm-hmm.
F you, don't worry about, I ain't doing nothing for them kids. And my husband took the phone out my hand and hung it up and said, as long as I got breath, don't let me ever hear you asking him for anything else for those kids. And I never asked him for another dollar for his kids. Whatever he paid through the child support system, and that was just it. Um,
Now with your husband,
and I never looked
on the,
back. I knew that I just, hmm
with your
I knew
husband,
that I deserved more. And so it was just like, I'm not looking. You there?
with your, yeah, can you hear me?
Okay.
With your husband, how did the dynamic work with like
Can you hear me?
him? Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Still can't hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, I lost her. Hopefully she come back on so we can conclude. It was good though. She was getting some good stuff in, man. Hopefully we could get her back on. Hello? We'll conclude. That's a lot to go through, man. And I pray that the brother got the help that he needs, man. This is it's tough. Hello? Hello? Yeah, our phone must overheat again. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's messed up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Every time
It's
I plug
messed up.
my
It
phone
probably overheated
in,
again.
every time I plug my phone in, it seems to start overheating from the
Yeah, it
devices.
probably overheated again. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the relationship with you and your husband coming from a standpoint of
Hmm.
you being a woman that has dealt with that. Was it hard for you to accept the kind of love he was giving you? And was it hard for him to
It
deal
definitely
with?
was.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on that a little bit. How was that?
It was because I had my guard up. I had my guard up.
Mm,
I didn't know what love felt like. And I felt like, anytime we had a disagreement, he was gonna leave. Or I didn't know what to expect.
mm-hmm,
I didn't know if it was genuine. He was always a good person and treated me good and my kids good. But at first I didn't know. And so I kept my guard up and I treated him. I can see in hindsight, like I treated him like he was the one who had did these things to me in the past initially. And it took me going to
mm,
therapy for years before I realized, like, he's not the person that hurt me. He's not the person that did these things to me and treated me so bad. Like, he's a good person. My husband is an excellent man. He has three sisters and a mom, and that's just the person he is. He's not going to mistreat a woman. Period. Um,
mm,
and so I had to learn to, like, stop making him the villain and the blame for how I had been feeling in the past.
mm. How did
Yeah.
he? Did he? Where did he get the strength to be able to like have the patience to understand that? Look, I'm just trying to love this woman, and I'm not the one that did this to her, but I'm getting this crazy feedback from her. Like, did he tell you?
Yeah.
Did he ever convey to you where he got the strength to have the patience to handle that?
No, he didn't. I just think that he was just like, it was just in his DNA. He's the big brother. He got
Mm,
three younger sisters, and he just knew how to how to be good to them, and
Mm.
I think that's what, kept him feeling and doing the things that he did, is because he knew how to be supportive, um and he still has. We've been together for 21 years, married for 15
Whew.
years this year.
That's dope. That's dope.
He
That's
raised my
dope. For
kids as
real.
his own. He never
Mm.
treated them as they were, not his or different or anything
Mm.
like that. Um, and I can depend on him and not be like worried that, he's not going to step up and do the things that needs to be done.
Mm.
I try to
Mm.
plug this in.
So how has your kids rebounded? How has their lives changed from the situation that happened before into now?
My daughter doesn't remember anything that happened because she was an infant.
Oh,
And
okay.
she has tried for years to develop a relationship with him. And just recently, like over the last 4 or 5 years, decided that she no longer wanted a relationship because she got pushed back every time. A lot of failed and broken promises. My son, he had a really difficult time when he started to enter his teenage years,
Mhm. Mhm.
because he just wanted his dad. He couldn't understand
Mhm.
why his father wasn't around. He would make up all kinds of scenarios in his head on different things that him and his dad did, and it never happened.
Mm.
But it got to the point where, like, I saw him rebelling, and my son is probably one of the sweetest kids that he's never been disrespectful. He's always been like, you know follow directions, follow the rules type thing. Real fun going guy. And when he started rebelling, it was a lot of that. So I put him in therapy because I knew it was a lot of things going on that he had dealt with and seen that he probably shouldn't have experienced, and he just couldn't understand why. Because kids don't care what happened between you and their father. They only know that they want their dad in their life,
Facts. Facts.
and I
Facts. Facts.
never tried to keep him away from them. But what happened was that he just chose not to be around. He put us on the block list for a long time. He came in and out when he wanted to. And then, they just got to the point, like, they're 27 and 25 years old now. So
Mhm.
they made their own decisions after their experiences with him over time, that they didn't want to be bothered anymore. And my husband has been, very helpful in standing up and being that father to them. You know, they look at him and they call him dad because he is
Mhm.
dad to them. He's been around more than half their life.
Mhm.
Um, we have 6 kids together, and he's never like treated anybody differently than the other. Um, our family life is good, and I made it a point in my life to, like, be happy every day. Like, if anything makes me sad or unhappy, I'm not allowing it in my life. I don't show my kids arguments. We don't fight. We don't argue in front of them. Like,
That's
that's just
dope.
not something that's going to happen. And I've not allowed my kids to be around that. They were visiting with him at one point in time, and there was constantly, like, arguing and stuff with him and his significant other at the time. And I reached out and was like, listen, like, I want you to have a relationship with your kids, but I don't want them around any type of domestic violence. Um, and so if you can't do that when you're with her, then you need to visit them without her being around, because I'm not allowing that. They don't see it in my house, and they're not going to see it when they're with you. Um,
Do you have you used your story to like experience to help like other women?
I have. So I worked as a social worker
Mm.
for about 6 years here in Philadelphia. And I remember one of the cases that I had. It was a young girl. She was like 23, and she was in a relationship with a guy that was like 40.
Mm.
And he was definitely abusive to her, but she would not say it. She made every excuse under the sun. She couldn't even come to visits with her kids
Mhm.
without him being there and telling her what to do and how to go. And I remember having conversations with her and, like, this is not something that you have to do. Like, you are worth more than this, Um, and I just remember, like, after a few years, like, maybe not even a few years, a few months of her contacting me and telling me that she had left him.
Mm.
Because I had conversations with her every time I saw her, like, just letting her know, you're worth more than this, you're beautiful. Um, I try to instill that in my kids, my daughter. my nieces, anybody that I'm around, I talk to them about my story as much as possible because
Mm-hmm.
I need people to know that abuse is not just when somebody is hitting you. Abuse
Mm.
comes in a lot of ways. You know, I used to pray that he would just hit me and take me out of my misery, instead of the verbal lashings that I got and the mental abuse that I got. Because it was like, that hit gonna last for a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
the things that said to you and how you're feeling is gonna last a lifetime.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
and I try to tell people as much as possible. I don't care if they tell you that it's just verbal. You need to believe them because it's painful to go through things like that. Just bring awareness to people going through mental and verbal abuse and financial abuse, because a lot of people don't even realize, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're being the financial support all the time and they're taking
Mm-hmm.
money from you and they're not standing up and doing what they're supposed to do, that's financial abuse as well. Um,
Yeah, I
and I
just saw
definitely, yeah,
something. I just
yeah,
saw something crazy about how the sports gambling thing is like the new fentanyl.
it is. It
Yeah, they
definitely
said
is.
that this joint is like going crazy. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I just did a lesson on Monday, and I was talking about how it's like women that's screaming out right now about that they not like they don't know where the money's going. It's like
Yeah,
this joint is jokers is cleaning out their bank accounts and all
yeah.
types of stuff with this sports betting thing, and it's like the new crave.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see this type of stuff going on, I feel sorry for it. And so do you think like the biggest misconception when it comes to the domestic violence thing is that people downplay the non-physical aspect of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I
Mm,
said, I reached out to friends and family when the verbal and the mental abuse had gotten so bad, and was like,
mm-hmm,
have a conversation with him. Let him know it's not okay. Like his homeboys that he hung with every day, talk to him. Let him know, because it's gonna come different when it comes from your guys that you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and they was like, did he hit you? And I was like, no. Well, what you worried
mm-hmm,
about then? You all right? I went to his mom, same thing.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then I remember when we were supposed to go to trial right before they, downgraded the charges and everything, and it was in the newspaper. It was in the newspaper, and it had his picture and it had his charges and everything, and it had the whole story of everything that happened. And I remember getting phone call after phone call, like, why you ain't tell us? Why you ain't call me? I would have, but I did call you. You didn't think it was serious then. But what people don't realize is that mental and physical abuse, more oftenly than not, escalates to physical.
mm,
It often turns into physical. And it got physical again after I left him.
mm,
I had been with my husband for a couple years. I was pregnant with my youngest son. He's 18 now. So that's how long it was years in between. And he called and wanted to get the kids for the weekend. So I drove him down, and immediately all night long he kept texting, I'm dropping your kids off, I'm bringing them back right now. And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm in Pennsylvania, he's in North Jersey. Like, what are you talking about, you bringing the kids back? And on that day, like, he started calling me like 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm bringing the kids back this morning. It was literally the next day. And I was like, you can't drop my kids off anywhere. I'm coming. So I got up, got dressed, and I went down there. And the crazy thing is April Fool's Day. And
mm,
I went down there and I waited for hours because he said he was on his way. He didn't show up for like 3, 4 hours. I stayed at a friend's house, that was right next door to his sister's house where we were supposed to meet up to get the kids. And he literally assaulted me that day, punched me in my face. It turned into a big brawl out in front of my children. And at this point in time, they were probably like 18, I mean, 8, 9 years old, 7. Um, and it turned into a physical altercation, where I had blood dripping from my face in front of my children. Um, and
mm.
we weren't even together at this time. I had left, started a whole new life with somebody else, with my husband, and he just was so angry. Like, he can't take somebody standing up for him, a woman standing up for him, standing up to him. And because I refused to allow him to talk to me any kind of way, that's what happened. He assaulted me. And we went to court for all of that stuff. And, after dealing what I went through with that court case, I just said, you know what, I'm done. We have no more dealings. If you want to see your kids, they're old enough for you to communicate with them. I'm not getting involved in it anymore. And I stayed out of it. And I moved on with my life. I've rebuilt. I went
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
college. I got my degree. I got three
That's what I'm
degrees in
talking
one
about.
year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I rebuilt. I did a lot of good things for myself. I showed my kids a better way of living. Um,
Now, now take me to this business, man. You making all
yeah.
types of talk to me about it. What is it about?
So
You
I
make it.
started
Go ahead.
I started a business in 2023.
Okay.
It was kind of like birthed out of like COVID because
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right before COVID started, I stopped working full time because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Mm.
And I couldn't work full time. It was too much on my body. And at first, when I was home, I was good. And then I started to fall into depression. Like I felt like I didn't
Mm.
have a purpose anymore because I went from, always helping people, being the one that everybody came to. I was a social worker. So I was like helping people every day to like not doing anything for myself. And just feeling like I didn't have a purpose in what was happening every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hang on one second. I want to make sure my phone don't hang up on us. It looked like it's my battery is wearing out. Um, and it went to that, and I started teaching myself how to bake because I don't know if you remember, Mike, but when we was in college, I didn't know how to cook at all.
I know.
I used to burn some stuff
I
up, right?
remember. I remember that. I remember we used to laugh about it.
Yeah. And my husband like taught me how to cook here, but I taught
That's
myself how
dope.
to bake during COVID. And I had started to come up with this, like, I need to start a business. I need something for myself. And I started my business in February 2023. I just woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna post online that I'm taking orders. And I started out
Wow.
making chocolate covered treats. And then I was like, I need to learn how to make cakes because I see everybody making cakes and I need to make some cakes. And I started watching videos and taking online classes and teaching myself how to
That's
decorate.
dope.
And, I had a lot of failed attempts at first at making a good cake.
As anything do.
But
And
yeah,
every
I
business
started
is
at
like that.
first. Yeah, I was making cakes and I was sending it with my kids to work and sending it with my husband to work and be like, tell me how they like it. And then people started calling me like, your mom gonna make some more of that? Send some more cake
Wow.
to work or whatever.
Wow.
And then I started making cakes and like, taking orders. And at first, I just was praying for like one order a month, something to keep me occupied, to keep me
Mm-hmm.
going. And now, like this week alone, I have 12 orders in one week for
That's
cakes.
dope, man.
So it's been really good, and I really love what I do. It's something
That's the
that
illest part. When you got a job that you really
yeah,
love, it's like you never
yeah.
work. You know
And
what
I
I'm
get to
saying? You
work
never
from
work.
home every day. It's a lot more
That's
work
dope.
because
That's dope.
sometimes I work 12, 13 hours a day.
That's
But
dope.
I work
Uh-huh.
for myself, and it's good because I'm able to like bring things to people that and help them with their birthday celebrations and all kinds of celebrations and stuff like that. So it's a
That's dope.
good
Putting a
thing. I really
smile on
like it.
people's faces. All right,
Yeah,
we getting
definitely.
to the last two questions. The first one is if you have a young lady sitting down in front of you right now that's telling you that she's going through domestic violence, what's your advice to her? What would you tell her if you face to face with her right now?
Leave. Don't wait.
Mm.
Don't wait until it escalates and gets because I was lucky.
Mm.
There are a lot of women that don't make it out. I have a number of
Mm.
friends that I've lost in probably the last like 5 years to domestic violence.
Mm.
Dear and close to me.
Mm. I know.
Um,
I know.
Leave. There's no reason to stay. You have nothing. You're not gaining anything by staying. You're losing more of yourself by staying. Um, Believe them the first time. Don't go
Okay.
back for more and more chances.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Now, in closing, I always give everybody an opportunity to thank everybody individually who was with you from your journey from pain to purpose. So who
Hmm.
would you like to thank?
Oh my God. First thing, my mom and my dad, Gwen and Buck. They've
Uh-huh.
always been in my corner. They're pain in the butt, but they've been in my corner forever. Um, Can't say thank you enough to my big brother and my youngest brother because they've been there behind me 100%, making sure that
Mm-hmm.
even when I would before I met my husband, that my kids never lacked for anything.
Mm-hmm.
My best friends, Tamar. I met her in college, and we sisters now. My kids still trying to figure
Mhm.
out how we related. Um, yeah, right. And
Uh-huh.
Crystal. Um,
Mm.
but more than anything, my kids and my husband. Um,
Mm.
he's my rock. You know, he keep me grounded. When I get all worked up about something and I feel like I can't do something, he right there encouraging me to keep going. My kids keep me going. You know, I want them to see a positive role model in everything that I do, which is why I went back to college and I finished my degree, and I got more than one degree. And I've conquered everything that I set out to do. And I think I do it the best that I can because I'm showing them what to do and not to give up. To believe in yourself the first time, and just because things don't happen the way that you planned it out to happen, it can still happen for you in a different way. And I got a totally different viewpoint and outlook on life now.
Mm. Mm. What's your being that regardless, he's your child father, where are you at on the journey of understanding that he was sick in terms of especially with the gambling part, in terms of forgiveness?
I forgave only because it's for me. Forgiveness is not for him, it's
Mm.
for me.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Okay.
couldn't heal until I learned how to forgive. I
Okay.
couldn't heal.
Okay. Okay.
So I had to let it go. So that post that you see me make like last year, and I was just like, every year for a long time, I constantly dwelled on this date because it was just a heartache that came with along with it. But today, like I'm like declaring myself as healed. I'm no longer a domestic violence victim. I'm a survivor, and I'm moving on with my life.
Uh-huh.
I meant that. Like I don't dwell in that. I don't speak his
That's
name.
good.
I've never spoke negative of him. I encourage my kids to do whatever they feel is best for them because they're adults now. I have a granddaughter. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
So,
That's
I
dope.
encourage them to do what's best for them. They make their own decisions. I've never once in the 27 years of being a parent spoke negative of him to my kids.
Okay.
They make the decisions that's best for them, but I let them know that you don't have to allow anybody in your life that treats you bad. Um, Regardless of who it is. If it's me, you tell me because I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take ownership of what anything and everything that I do and stand up for it. But I healed. I moved on.
Mm.
Therapy and prayer every day, and having a good person in my corner because I remember one day having the mindset of the things that he said. Nobody's ever going to want you to use goods. You got kids, and I found a man that not only loves me but loves my kids like his own. And
That's dope.
so,
All praises to the
I get
Most
the
High.
last laugh. You know what I mean?
All praise to the Most High.
Yeah.
Well, T, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm glad we finally got this done. I'm gonna be putting up clips of this interview, and I'll be tagging you in them joints. And I want to thank you again. And I got to figure out a way to. You got to make some kind of like fat-free vegan type cake for me or something like that.
I keep getting a
But
lot of requests for vegans, so I'm gonna have
yeah,
to
that's
try
what
to
I'm
play
trying to
around
say.
with some
Yeah,
recipes and
we
stuff.
gotta get some vegan.
Ain't no
And
fat free though. Listen,
all right, all right, all right, all
it
right.
ain't gonna be fat
I
free.
get a treat. I get a treat just because it's coming from you.
But I can
And
tell you, I don't put added sugar and stuff. I don't. I
all
use the
right, yeah. Make
minimum
me
amount
something
of
like
sugar
that.
in my things. Yeah.
Make me something like that. And I'll let you know when my book drop. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Because I know I got
definitely.
to definitely get
I'm a
your
support
copy of
as
that.
always.
Oh, no doubt, T. All right, take care. Tell your husband I said what's up, and thanks for coming on, T.
All right, thank you, Mike. Thanks a
All right,
lot.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. All right, guys, it's another episode of For Pain the Purpose podcast, and it was great having T on. She got a chance to tell her story. I pray that it touches somebody out there to help them get um the information they need when they dealing with that kind of situation, and pray that everything is worked out um in this kind of life and stuff like that, man, because it's a tough thing to deal with going through that. So there's Mike, and looking for the joint to come on to put on, and I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your night. Shalom. Mm, 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 mm.